Why do some men find it so hard to take charge of their own lives? You know the type. Always deferring to others. Never making a goddamn decision. Living a life that's way below their potential. Or maybe that's you, brother. Today, we're ripping off the band-aid and diving deep into the signs that a man is trapped in Weakling King energy, the shadow aspect of the king archetype that's keeping too many of us from claiming our thrones. Picture your life as a kingdom. In a thriving realm, the king sits confidently on his throne, making decisions, setting boundaries, and leading with balls of steel. But for the man possessed by the Weakling King, that throne is gathering dust. The kingdom's in chaos, ripe for tyrants and external forces to swoop in and take control. This leadership vacuum doesn't just stunt our inner king. It creates a very dangerous imbalance. Your psyche gets hijacked by the Shadow King, leaving you powerless and adrift in your own damn life. The price? A life of unfulfilled potential, indecision, and a gnawing sense that you're not in control. You become both the absent ruler and the suffering subject, trapped in a cycle of powerlessness and regret that's harder to break than a bad habit. Let's cut through the noise and dive into the 6 telltale signs that a man is letting the Weakling King run his kingdom. The chronic abdicator. This is the guy who's allergic to making decisions. His go-to phrase? Whatever you think is best. He's so terrified of making the wrong choice that he makes no choice at all. His life is a series of decisions made by others, leaving him feeling as powerless as a pawn in someone else's chess game. The invisible man. Meet the human chameleon. In meetings, he blends into the wallpaper, never speaking up even when he's got gold to contribute. He's so afraid of being seen, of standing out, that he'd rather fade into obscurity. His mantra: if I stay quiet, no one will notice how inadequate I am. But in hiding from judgment, he's also hiding his true powerful potential. The eternal child. This is the 40-year-old adolescent, still living in his parents' basement, letting mom do his laundry and make his meals. He's never held down a real job, never had a serious relationship. It's not my fault, he whines, blaming everything and everyone but himself. He's abdicated all responsibility for his life, remaining forever the child, never the king. The puppet king. Here's the guy who's always dancing to someone else's tune. At work, he's at the mercy of his boss's every whim. At home, his partner makes all the decisions. He's given away his power so completely that he no longer knows what he wants or who he is. I'm easygoing, he says. But the truth is, he's lost his sovereignty faster than a drunken gambler loses his shirt. The conflict dodger. This is the human doormat. He'll do anything to avoid confrontation, even if it means sacrificing his own needs and desires. He watches silently as others take credit for his work, step on his boundaries, and disrespect him. I just want to keep the peace, he says, not realizing that he's at war with himself. The paranoid pawn. Last but not least, we have the man who sees threats everywhere. He's convinced that he's not good enough, that others are out to get him. This paranoia paralyzes him, keeping him from taking risks or stepping into leadership roles. Better to stay small and safe, he thinks, not realizing that his fear is the biggest threat of all. Brothers, these men, they're all around us. And if we're honest, we've all been there at some point. Their Weakling King energy manifests in different ways, but the core is the same. A fundamental disconnection from their own power, authority, and purpose. The tragedy is these men often think they're playing it safe. They've bought into a warped idea of masculinity that equates assertiveness with being an asshole, decision-making with domination. But here's the brutal truth. This isn't safety, it's a slow death of the spirit, a gradual erosion of your sovereignty and self-respect. Real king energy isn't about tyranny or domination. It's about taking responsibility for your life, about having the balls to make decisions and stand by them. It's about leading yourself first, then extending that leadership to uplift those around you. So, brother, it's time for some real talk. If you recognize yourself in any of these examples, it's not too late to reclaim your throne. Start small. Make one decision today that you've been putting off. Set one boundary that you've been afraid to enforce. Take responsibility for one area of your life where you've been playing the victim. The solution? It's time to embrace your inner authority and power. Establish routines that reinforce your sovereignty. Morning rituals, regular exercise, continuous learning. Your inner warrior can help here, providing the discipline to stick to these practices. It's about integrating all aspects of your masculine energy, not just the parts that feel comfortable or safe. Remember, true power doesn't come from controlling others or avoiding responsibility. It comes from having the courage to rule your own life, to make tough decisions, to stand firm in your values. That's the essence of the king archetype. If you're feeling a little deflated in your king energy right now, if you're struggling to step into your power, I want you to remember this. Your authority, your decisiveness, your leadership, it's all still there. It might be buried under layers of fear and self-doubt, but it's not gone. And every small step you take to reconnect with your king energy is an act of courage, an act of reclaiming your full, powerful self. Remember, brother, you weren't born to be a pawn in someone else's game. You weren't born to hide from your own power. You were born to lead, to make decisions, to create order from chaos. It's time to dust off that crown, step up to that throne, and start ruling your kingdom like the king you were born to be. I'd like to leave you with a poem I read recently. Hopefully it can act as a spark for your king within. The king beneath the mountains, the king of carven stone, the lord of silver fountains shall come into his own. His crown shall be upholden, his harp shall be restrung, his halls shall echo golden, to songs of yore resung. The woods shall wave on mountains, and grass beneath the sun. His wealth shall flow in fountains, and the rivers golden run. The streams shall run in gladness, the lakes shall shine and burn, all sorrow fail and sadness, at the Mountain King's return. If you want to dive deeper into personal development with the archetypes, you're ready to try the Sovereign Man course. This guided shadow work program provides practical techniques to balance the 4 masculine powers within you. Click on the link in the description to learn more.